Hey everybody, it's Brad. I want to give everyone an important market update, and I'm going to talk about why I sold 75% of my crypto holdings today and set some stop losses. I'm ready to get into cash. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about USDT dominance. We're going to take a look at M2 global money supply and how that's leading price, even though it's deviated quite a bit lately. Also taking a look at the path to 150,000 Bitcoin. Is it breaking down? Are we still on track? So with that, let's go ahead and dive into the charts. Here's a pretty simple chart of Bitcoin here holding the 21 week EMA. Don is worried about Bitcoin. I'm going to open up our trading signals here, and nothing really that telling on this one, but on ETH and Sol and all the other altcoins, I'm going to show with you what I'm seeing, and then we'll go back to Bitcoin with some important levels. So our trend strength indicator down here has been heading down. Our trigger for going short and getting out of the markets is going below 80 right here. When it's up here, it can stay extended for any length of time, but on the weekly time frame and the daily, but the weekly is that stronger momentum. When it breaks below 80 and confirms, that is generally bearish, especially when we have confluence with our second indicator. This is essentially a modified MACD, and so this also crossing down on the weekly time frame. I'm going to turn on the early reversal indicator. These are all proprietary signals that we have created, and that's not showing too much right here on them. I'm going to turn that off for now. These are generally good for that early inflection point, but it's these two that I just described right here, turning red, is where we generally see the bigger reversals. Right here we saw that. We had about, let me do here to see how that 62% drop, you guys. So I'm going to turn off all the noise on the charts, but let's take a look at Solana and show you that. Solana, I love Solana. I'm a big Solana bull, but I sold all of my Solana today because of this crossover and because things are looking a little bit weak in the markets. They feel weak. We're holding here at the 21 week EMA, but on the daily time frame, just really don't like these. We're in a sell block. The red blocks here we've visualized with our order block detector where the concentration of sell orders are, and invariably these are the inflection points. So we saw this push up here at 281 all the way up to about 300, and that was the high for Solana. Similarly, down in the buy zones, the best buys that we've seen are coming out of these buy blocks, especially when coupled with our trend strength indicator turning bullish on the daily charts and also on the weekly charts. So when that loads, we'll kind of take a look at that as well. But mostly we're looking for confluence, but in the buy zones on the daily. So look, there's no reason to be bullish when there's a sell block. The other big reason that I'm bearish on a lot of the altcoins is we're seeing the 21 and 50-day EMA crossing over to the downside, and it's in a sell block. So this tells me we're likely to come down. We could come all the way down to 129 on Solana. You know, maybe it'll hold here at support around this area, but I don't think so. When we hit sell blocks and we start to roll over, and we have that 21 week crossover, or the 21 period, in this case the daily 21 day below the 50-day in green, we can see that was quite a bit of a drop. If I pull this up, it's going to bring up all of those other and lines and things on the chart. But here, that was a 54% drop there, and so I'll just remove that. We are still in an uptrending channel, but I just don't. I think this at least comes down in these ranges. I want to see our signals turn green before I would consider getting back into that market. So I'll hide that again, mostly focusing on the sell blocks on the daily and the exponential moving averages crossing over. But on the weekly, big sell pressure up in this range, and our signals showing that bearish momentum heading lower. The signal line here, again, this is our modified MACD, also about to cross. And when we see that cross on the weekly, we generally see these big drops. So I just think with everything going on in the markets and last Friday's big drop, could certainly see another retest and flesh out of the markets. Even though the margin's gone, I'm seeing a lot of these sellers, these big sell blocks, generally they're not that thick. So that tells me there's a lot of sell pressure, which we can also see on the total market cap. Now this wasn't there. We were looking at sell blocks on the total market cap the last couple of weeks. If I go to a daily, we can see now that it's back. This had gone away on total market cap and essentially clearing the way for more upside. Here's what I want to propose though, and no one else talks about this, but these big round numbers on the total market cap are really significant. The market top in the last cycle was exactly when we hit $3 trillion. Had nothing to do with the price of Bitcoin. If we zoom out here and go over to where $3 trillion was in the last cycle, let me go to the weekly so it's easier to see. You can see that 3 trillion was the exact top of the last cycle, and we can see that right in here at right to the dollar. Okay, about three, not exactly to that, but almost right to the dollar. So 3 trillion, markets sold off, and along the way, these big round numbers are important, like 1 trillion, and then we got up around 2 trillion, had some trouble there. So my point is, we just hit 4 trillion, and that's when Bitcoin hit 124,000. The last cycle, that was the top. Can we break back higher? Maybe. I will certainly be taking profits at 5 trillion if we can get that far. There's a measured move target on that on the daily chart to 5 trillion, between 4.8 and 5 trillion. But again, I think 5 trillion might be the top there. Certainly, though, pay attention to these big round numbers right here, 4 trillion and rejected. So, I think it's reasonable to assume that there is a lot of sell pressure up above. We can see that in the total 1 and total 2. Look at the huge sell block here, very tall. Usually these are not that tall. That means there's lots of sellers all the way from 1.43 trillion all the way up to 1.7 trillion in total 2, which is everything excluding Bitcoin. And if we look at total 3, so this is a broad market sell pressure. We sometimes see them show up on 1, but not 2 and 3, and sometimes on the opposite. But this is not retroactive. These are existing sell orders on the books. Somebody's dumping a lot of crypto at these levels, and we're about to see the 21 and 50-day EMAs roll over here on the total 3. Also, I believe on the total 2, we can see that crossover about to happen. And if we go to a weekly time frame, sure enough, we also see this trend strength indicator turning over. Guys, if you're not familiar with our indicators, that's okay, but just trust me. We've been fine-tuning these for 5 years. I'm a 25-year trader. These are the best that I've ever used, and we can see that they have been highly accurate for us. This is also how we called the last market cycle high in Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. We started seeing those roll over, and also with our early reversal indicator, which I will just turn on here because when these align, that's it. That's it. We're no motion. Time to get out of the markets. I know you guys may not have been following us for very long, but make sure to hit like and subscribe for more videos like this. We are bringing alpha that other people don't have. Everyone has their own indicators. These are built by a quant engineer, one of my partners, and one of the best traders I know, who's also a programmer. Right here, November 2021, I was getting people out of the markets. Our early reversal indicator, it's not just an arrow, that's the visualization of it. The actual oscillator, very powerful. Yeah, but I believe it's picking up on institutional buying and selling. So these factors, bearish ERI, bearish engulfing candle, our trend strength indicator went red and below 80, and then our signal line went red, and also with our RSI Pro, we had bearish divergence right there. When we see them align, I can't say 100% obviously, but it's 90% plus when they align. And the more of them in confluence, the more powerful they are. The good news is I'm not seeing that as a total market cap signal. We did not have our bearish ERI. We kind of had the trend strength indicator drift down a bit on Bitcoin, a bit of bearish divergence here. So Bitcoin, I think, is stronger, probably will lead once things sort of turn around. Whereas looking at Ethereum, we're starting to see confluence on the bearish side, as I said. Same thing with Solana, and seeing that sell pressure that we saw in the total too. But this for me is a trigger. This is a huge stop sign. I love Solana. I hated to sell it, but I would rather buy it back lower. You know what, guys? I doubled my Solana last year just trading in that $125 range using our buy sell blocks. And so we can see that down in this range here. I have my signals turned off, but I'm going to pull it back up just to show you where that range was. And I visualized that this green box, it's gone now, but all through last year, there was this buy block. So I was buying down in this 125 region, selling up on the pumps, buying, selling. I turned 50 sol into 90 and would have been 100, but I forgot to hit the buy order on one of the other ones. But it's actually up to 100 now. So anyway, that's why we pay attention to our signals, and I wanted to share that with you. Not here to sell those, but if you want to find out more about those, go over to cryptomastery.org and you can find out more about these. These are the best signals. I'm not going to say I don't care what you're using. You can use them in conjunction with what you're already using, and they will make your results better. that's fully guaranteed. And not to be salesy, but you got these. We have created things and that are in here that you can't see that are really powerful, and we've been testing these for quite a while now, and they're tremendous. So if you want some alpha, if you want to have less losses and have bigger profits, then you want to find out about these and the suite of indicators that we have. But similarly, Pendle, love the project, but look at this big sell block. I am out of Pendle. I sold most of my Pendle, and I have a stop loss below that sell block. We'll see what happens. And also, looking at this weekly time frame, we have the TSI going lower, still red, and this starting to roll over as red. So I think Pendle could come back down around that $2 range. This is going to set us up for some excellent buys if we are going to get an alt season. And, it's likely that there won't be an alt season until and unless Bitcoin breaks out to new highs. So with that, I'm going to jump over here to take a look at money flow in a minute, but also M2 money supply. So we see this kind of corresponding with the peak and money flow pulling back on M2. So with this offset, I have two different offsets here, but showing that, different times and different periods, they match up better than others. So it's good to play around with different offsets. At any rate, we saw this pullback in M2. We should see Bitcoin catch up to that and see another push higher to all-time high, at which point Ethereum will push up to all-time high, and then we could have alt season, and maybe even into end of this year, Q1 next year. Although I'm pretty sure I'm going to be taking my profits, taking out in toward the end of the year, but certainly sooner if we see our signals set up that way. But that's M2 kind of lining up. Looking at the short-term time frame, not much else to glean on that. We'll come back to that as well. USDT Tether dominance is pushing up. This we've been talking about for some time, and this is inversely related to crypto. So basically, when Tether and stable coins would go up, the money's coming out of the crypto markets. And so this blue fractal here is the same one as last cycle. And so first I thought we might see this, might be like that, might be like this. I was hoping that we could extend it out a bit. This would be better for coming into the end of the year. And then having maybe a first quarter pullback and rally. But if this is what's happening, then we may have seen the top. We may have seen the top here, and we're seeing this kind of bounce out of this region, but we don't want to see Tether dominance get up above this 5.15%, because then we're in crypto correction territory, and if it continues higher, crypto crash zone and all the way to bear market. So watching this very carefully, and we'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted. All right, so back to the path to 150,000 that we've been following here. The same Fibonacci fractal that we were drawing in the last cycle from the 2017 high to low, extended out. That was the high of Bitcoin right here. It did push up again. This was more like a Wyckoff upthrust after distribution. So this was the high, many people believe, as I do. This was a bull trap and a fake out. Regardless, doing that same analysis, the Fibonacci from 2021 to the 2023 low, end of 2020 around 16.5, but it gives us some interesting targets here, which we've been following, but we're in danger of losing that. The 3.618 that called the last cycle top puts us at around 200K. And if we zoom in on this, we did at the 1.618, took us to about 100,000. That worked for a while, and we are pushing up right in here. And we won't. So 150K is that 2.618 Fibonacci. I do believe that's still possible. However, these angles, we typically see a fourth and final angle kick off on the final phase of the bull run. We can see that blue line massaged a bit, but right now we are losing that. We're breaking down to the secondary support. So very important that we recover that steeper slope if we want to see a parabolic blow off top and maybe get to 200K. Possibly, and this would show us getting in first quarter if we were to draw this. But again, this trajectory we've now lost, so we can almost take that off the table unless by the end of the week we get back above that. So that would kill any hopes of getting to 200K by this year, but even that's putting it in January. So more than likely, I think we get to 150K by the end of the year in this region around December, and then we see pullback going into first quarter, and then we could see another rally here once those other interest rate cuts hit. We won't see QE or money printing probably anytime soon, although there's some speculation that the president's going to be sending out $2,000 stimulus checks to everybody, which is their per percentage of the billions of dollars in tariff money. Nobody's talking about that. Everyone's blaming the president about tariffs. But if they send you $2,000 in the mail, and everybody, like we saw in COVID, went into the markets, rallied those markets tremendously. So that would be good for us as crypto investors. All right, so we'll leave that alone. I did talk about a scenario where we could push up to around 245K into next year. If we are right on the top at 245, then I think I know where the next bear market bottom is, based on a similar fractal in the last cycle, which I discovered from the high to low here in a fib retracement. From the low to the high here, that is exactly 3.14 or pi. If we're able to do that here to here, and it does go to 245, it comes back down. Pi is going to be right around 74,000, which would make sense because that's the price it was before the president was inaugurated. Now, you might not know this, but Bitcoin hasn't gone below the price that a new president has been inaugurated where the price was. So when a new president comes in, the price that Bitcoin has not been breached, and when that happens. So anyway, here are the 10 factors. We're not going to go through these. I've covered these in other videos on this channel, but we're starting to see these all check off, and that gives us the strength to go to 150K, 200K Bitcoin. Going back to these charts here, let's just go down the line here. We've got Polkadot. We were bullish on these, but it started to see these rollovers on the TSI, on the signal line, and so I just think that I am holding some Polkadot. I've got a tight stop loss here right under that because we have some support right around $3, so my stop is around $2.90. And then some other ones that Filecoin we were following, but it broke down below its multi-year, 5-year lows. Finally, it just broke down. I don't want to be trying to catch a falling knife. This range in here around $2.30 all the way over. Great support zone. It's now broken down below that, so I've de-risked and I've mostly exited Filecoin. I've got a little bit of a stop loss down here. This is not financial advice. It is more for education. And if you like this kind of video, please do hit the like button and leave a comment, subscribe. That helps tell YouTube that you like it, and that will help reward us to get out to more people. And that would be good, so we can get this out to more people and get the message out. So appreciate that. Anyway, AVAX, same thing. AVAX 21 and 50-day rolling over. I sold all of it. And not that I would buy back again. I'd rather buy lower. I don't buy in these markets when our signals are green and the moving averages are rolling over, especially when price is down below that. Similarly, IMX started to look good here a couple days ago, pushing off the bottom after Fridays or going into last week. Looked good. Nice push higher, was above the 50-day EMA, 50-week EMA at one point. But now rolling over, so turning red on the signals. You get the idea. All of these are starting to line up. I think altcoins do not look very good here. I sold my Ondo, I sold Sui, I sold ICP. These all look pretty bad. If you're holding altcoins, just remember that for there to be an alt season, Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin need to start running higher. Bitcoin needs to get to new all-time highs. Ben Cowan is also talking about that, so you can go watch more about that. But inherently, that's how the market works, and there's no money left. There's really no money to have alt season right now after the pump.fun fiasco on Solana. And a lot of those traders with that, let's just call it what it is, gambling money, they got blown out. The people with money that are left are the whales and the institutions, and generally they're not trading in these low cap, micro caps, and other coins. Okay, so anyway, for a while, Cake was looking good, Pancake Swap, but just right now, nothing's looking good. I think it's better to be in cash and just wait for some of these to come back around and start buying them in the buy blocks. We're going to be setting this up perfectly and setting alerts right in the middle of these buy blocks, right around, say, 15 cents is going to be the sweet spot for buying up and picking up some say. But I do want to wait for our signals to start to turn green, because when they are in confluence, we see some pretty powerful moves. So that's all I have for you today. If you got something out of the video, please leave a comment down below. One more thing before you go, I want to tell you about our crypto mastermind that we're having in Tulum, Mexico, starting October 22nd. It's right around the corner. We might have one room left in the villa, and we have some amazing people coming out to this event. So reach out to us to see if there's any room available. We're going to have private chefs. We're going to have speakers like Max Wright from Success Council, known as the Contrarian Dude, myself, as well from Moonstream Crypto. Vadim Voss is a DeFi expert, getting 20 to 40% monthly APYs with his next level DeFi program, and he's just improved that. So we're going to be showing you how you can earn passive income with very low risk, as well as our in-house Joe Potts, who is a crypto trader, programmer, hedge fund manager, quant engineer. He's designed all of our signals, and he's been working on some amazing new signals and an alert service that we're going to be rolling out. But these new signals in the new dashboard and scanner are amazing, and they're all based on our proprietary signals that give traders an edge. Nick Mancinelli, I met him at the Bitcoin conference out in Las Vegas, and he's the co-founder, or the founder rather, of Profit Tester. They have some AI-driven technology that you can backtest your signals and your trading, so that's going to be interesting. He's going to be sharing some new alpha. Juan Villaverde, he is a market cycles expert, and he's going to be sharing what he thinks are the next cycle lows and cycle highs in the markets. And we're also going to have some other virtual presenters going over how to trade futures on Coinbase and the new perpetual futures. So you can find out more about that. There is a button. We will be staying here at this villa in Tulum. It's an amazing. I've been there before. We've rented this out. Chef prepared meals. We're going to be hanging out here and masterminding in this great room with meals and etc. by this beautiful pool down below. But it's going to be amazing. We've got one seat left, so find out more. First come, first serve. We've got one left. We can make you a great deal. It's already discounted, so go check it out. Cheers. Bye.